Welcome to this session where I'm going to show you how to import into Libero the records that you've also downloading from Libraries Australia. This process is an important one for you to be aware of, and you've got written instructions on the Moodle. I would suggest that you print those out and have a look at them as I go through this with you, and then the key really is for you to get on and practice. Both these environments that you work in are practice environments, and that's exactly what they are. They're for training, for you to get very comfortable and familiar with what you're doing. So relax, have a look, have a listen, but most importantly, you need to get onto Libraries Australia training and onto Libero and practice this process. I'm just going to switch my screen so that I can actually share my screen with you, and I will have Libraries Australia visible for you. Now, when you go into Libraries Australia, your initial login will be Training 1, Training 1. When you go in, you will then have the option here to create your own login. For this one, I'm going to just remain in the training environment. Now, on your notes, you will see that I'll walk you through how to actually get the information that you want. One of the important things to do first is to limit what type of item. So, for example, if you've got a book or an e-book, you can select that. If, for example, though, you had a talking book, you would select that. If you were doing pictures, again, it would limit your search. Just for this exercise, I'm actually going to limit it to books. I would like you to note, however, there's other places that you can search, more databases there too that you can go to. Along here amongst them is the OCLC, which we do a bit of work on, Library of Congress, and of course then there's more databases that you can actually select from. So a very wide range there, and you can actually select ones that you may want to tap into further. Save your changes, and you'll find that they will then show up down here. So this is a really important tool for you, where you can actually research and source from other places. I'm just going to unclick those because at the moment we just want to source from Libraries Australia. So we're back here. Now, because of what we're doing, if you were in a library, you would have the book or the item in front of you, and you would be able to actually put it straight in there. We don't, so I'm going to do a general search. I might do and I hadn't selected a database. Sorry. Hence it didn't know where to go looking. And here we go. We're looking at the National Library, and I'm just sourcing, and I'm going to, I've said horses, and there's a whole range that we can actually select from. Sometimes you've got a graphic with it, sometimes you don't. You actually have a preview of the details here so that you can actually check that you're getting the correct information, a record preview. By clicking on there, I can actually get the record that I'm wanting, and I can actually click download. I'm selecting Mark Unicode, and here I've said I don't want to include a list of libraries that have these items, and I'm going to download. Now my suggestion to you is that when you download, you go to Save and Save As. And if you're working on your own computer, you can just drop it onto the desktop and save it. Or you may select another place that you actually want to save to. Now I'm going to go back to the records. I'm going to do a few records here. This is the other one that I want. I'm going to download. Yes, I'm going to download it. I'm going to save as, and this, I've already got one record. And one of the things that I usually try to do is give them a name that I can identify them with and know that they're the records I've downloaded. So I would suggest to you that you actually do a really good practice of downloading as many records as you possibly can. You're not going to do any damage, as I said, and it's all going to be to your benefit in terms of actually practicing. So now you've got, in this case, I've got 2 records on my desktop waiting. So I'm now going to change to my Libero dashboard that I'd opened previously. I'll just remove that so we can see what we're doing. And I'm doing some cataloguing. So I go down to the cataloguing area. I'm doing importing. So I'm going to mark bibliographic import, and I'm going to open that up. Now, because we are in a training environment and not a real environment, there's some things that we don't have to enter in, but we can still go through that process so that when you do get into a library, you have a very good idea of what you're actually doing. So what we need to now do is to browse. We need to find that file, or those couple of files. So there was the first one, and I'm going to upload that file. There it is. Now, if we scroll down further, there's these cogs. So we're going to process our uploaded file. And I haven't selected any duplicate check option to see in case I'm importing something I've already got. So for my exercise, I'm not worrying because it's not a real system. If it was a real system, I'd certainly be checking, because you don't want to be importing into your system something that you've already got a record of and overlapping, and all your records get very, very messy. So, and if I go down here, I find that there it is. I'm going to browse and upload my other mark record. Okay, I'm going to upload it, and then process it, and you'll see it's appearing, the 2 of them are appearing down here. So I now have 2 records that I can actually work with in Libero. If I click on this record here, you'll see that the actual record has opened up over here, and I can have a look at the mark record and what's there and what's not there. I can also access my workflows and click on mark record, and it's loading it up here. And this is where I can go in and do some editing, changing things that need to be changed. Now along here again is our controls, and this is your discard invalid tags. So I'm just going to, non-authorized tags have been deleted. So you can see my record is considerably smaller, and each of these forms a function, but of course I'm going to save my record, and it sets up a reminder that actually the mandatory tags are missing, which means I need to go in and put it in. So if I go into my record, 082A, Now, it is like another language, and this time I'm just putting it in. It's telling me that it already exists and it's already in the holdings. If you select, it will be added to the data. Okay. So it's just telling me that that's already there. For this exercise, I'm not going to be too worried. You can see here that I now have my mark record, and I can edit that to adapt it to whatever my particular library needs are. That's very simply the importing of records. The notes you can go through, you can do in more detail. Just thought it might be helpful for you to actually see the screen and see what's happening. The key really with all of this is experience and practice. And if you can do more and more of it and get a feel of it, and I will do a separate session on the actual mark records and what they are and where you might change them and things like that, so that you can become quite proficient and familiar with what you're actually looking at when you're looking at the mark record.